If you are a man who currently identifies with the insecure nice guy, then you are going to want to stay for this video because I'm going to deep dive into this nice guy identity. I'm going to let you know where it comes from, why it's there, and how you can actually start to shift into that man that your family and future can depend on. Now, in the last 7 days or so, I have had that many conversations over on Instagram with fellow insecure nice guys, right? This was me for so much of my life. I was the typical nice guy, full of insecurities, full of doubt. I had relationship struggles, body dysmorphia, lack of direction and purpose in my life. And so the only way that I was able to navigate was to step into and become this nice guy, right? And whilst that might seem great on the surface, when we dig a little bit deeper, we can understand that it's actually just a symptom of a deeper issue. And if we don't understand what that is and shift it, we really risk staying as this lesser kind of, not necessarily weaker, but we risk staying as a man that cannot be dependent on for himself, for his family, and ultimately to create the future that us men want. So I wanted to create a bit of a resource where we can just go through all of this. If you're new here, all of my videos are always completely raw. They're not edited. I don't really care about that. I just care about the message and what we're actually getting from it. So yeah, without further ado, let's just actually get an understanding of what the nice guy is, because where I think a lot of people struggle is they understand what it is, but they don't know why it's there or why it never changes, because they are so focused on the external symptoms of it and trying to change those. So the easy example of this is because the nice guy often shows up in relationships, right? Where we turn into the people pleaser, we doubt ourselves, we overthink, we can't lead, we don't make decisions. And so we pretty much will relationship hop. And this is what I did for so long as well. We relationship hop, thinking that that next relationship or just a better partner is going to fix the problem, right? But that never actually happens because we've never actually dealt with the root cause of the nice guy. So as I said, the nice guy is nothing more than a symptom, right? And by just chasing external solutions, you're not actually fixing the root cause of this nice guy. Because what it is, underneath all of the symptoms, the overwhelm, the overthinking, the everything else, is a story that you believe that you are not good enough, you are not worthy, you are not capable. And you add into that the conditioning of the world, which basically rewards us for being good, right? So when we combine those two things, it just creates so much havoc, not just in our relationships and in our body and in our purpose and in these external things, but in the way in which we see ourselves and who we actually think we need to be, right? So for me, if I give you a bit of my background, so I came into this nice guy identity as a result of struggles I had with body dysmorphia and therefore a lot of self-doubt, low self-esteem, low self-worth. And I would wear a mask because I got some bullying around my body when I was younger. And so in that moment where I was, picked on for the way I looked back then, I learnt that my true authentic self was not enough because I was laughed at, I was judged, and I was mocked. So in that moment, I learned, okay, it is not safe for me to be myself. And so I need to be someone else because I don't want to feel what I felt when I was getting bullied. I want to be liked. I want to be accepted. I want to fit in. I want to be the man. I want to be confident. So I would create this mask. I would create this identity of myself in which I would hide my body in this case, but really I was hiding my true self because I didn't want to get hurt anymore. And as I was doing that, as I was basically pushing my true self away and not being confident and having this low self-worth, I, unknowing to me, right, created this story, this core story that drives everything that was, I was not enough, right? I could never be confident. Girls would never be attracted to me because I had this body, right? And so I created this entire self-image deeply rooted in I was not enough thanks to that past, right? Now we then add the conditioning of the world into this where we're brought up to follow certain rules, and if we go outside of those rules, we are bad, right? We want to be good because there is a reward system for being good. So what can happen here is if you've had something like this happen and you've ended up with some level of not good enough story, and you then take this and put this into your relationships, if you haven't healed the not good enough story, not only have you attracted in the woman from that place of I am not good enough, and so she is simply going to be a projection and mirror of you, but now you are going to base that whole relationship around trying to be good, trying to be loved, trying to be validated, to be constantly reassured. And because you can't do that for yourself, because of the challenges you faced, you need her to do it. Right? Now, not only does this absolutely crush the masculine and feminine dynamic as a whole, but you will start to do things and manipulate, not in a necessarily a bad way or a toxic way, or even with your knowledge, but you will do things in order to be the man that you think she wants you to be, to keep her happy, to keep the peace, to avoid conflict, because that means you get to be good, right? That means you get to be loved. And when you have those things happen, you feel better about yourself. Right? Think about when, often the nice guy's mood will be completely reflected by his partner's mood. So when she's happy, you're happy. When she's sad or frustrated, you feel like you've done something wrong, right? So you turn into the fixer. You try and fix everything. You overthink everything, because if she's upset and mad, that means that must have something to do with you, which is now challenging that old not good enough story, which is pain. And so you just try and avoid that as much as you possibly can. So you try and fix things. You be very, very overbearing, because you just want things to go back to how they were. Right? So as I said, the trouble with just seeking out a new relationship without actually understanding why you're showing up that way, it's just why nothing ever changes for people. Right? Because this core story, and I do a lot of work with people around this, because this is the most important thing. Think of your core story as like a computer has an operating system. Right? The operating system drives absolutely everything on that computer. If there's a bug or an error or something, or it's outdated on that core operating system, the whole computer is not going to work, or it's going to reflect that bug. It's going to be slow or laggy or whatever it might be. Humans are the same, right? We have this core underlying belief and story. And let's just say it is, okay, I believe I am not enough for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter. And so if I'm not enough, I'm going to have belief systems that reflect that. I'm going to have level of thought and mental chatter that are going to reflect that. I'm going to speak in that way. So my language is going to be reflective of someone who doesn't feel good enough. I'm going to have emotions, right? So I'm going to have a lot of negative emotions, pessimistic emotions, sad, frustrated, angry, anxious, depressed, right? Emotions, because they reflect me not being good enough. And I'm going to have actions that reflect that as well. Oh, well, if I'm not good enough, then I can't do X. Or if I'm not good enough, that means I do this, right? And quite often they're very counter to what we actually want. So it's this story that drives all of these things, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, actions, and that is what creates the world in which we live in, right? So when you go on a date and you're feeling anxious and you're worried if she's looking at your body or if she's going to like you or whatever, think where that has come from. If we trace that back, right? You're having emotions, right? You're anxious, you're worried, you're scared, right? That is because you're having thoughts of her judging you, or her not liking you, or her rejecting you. And then what does that trace back to? Oh, well, she's going to believe I'm not enough. Cool, there's that core story that's triggered. So the nice guy, what he does to avoid this is he puts on the mask. He becomes the people pleaser, right? Because deep down he believes he's not good enough. And so, okay, well, if my true self, who I am at my core, is not good enough, then I need to put on a mask to go on this date. I need to put on a mask when I walk into the gym. I need to put on a mask when I'm with my partner. Right? I need to put on a mask when I'm trying to, launch a business, or at work, or around my friends, or whatever it might be, because I just want to be liked. At the core of all of this is just this little kid that wants to be liked, loved, accepted, and feel worthy. As humans, that is all we want. Right? And the easiest way to do that, because you've already learnt that your true self, for whatever reason, was not good enough. Right? That was a lie. That's not actually true. But in this moment, that's what you believe. So you put on the mask. Oh, well, if I talk this way instead, or I pretend this is what I do for work, or I, wear certain clothes that hide certain things and hopefully she doesn't see them, for example. Right? You put on this mask and now you're presenting a version of yourself that is not actually you, but they might like. Now, the trouble with this, especially when it comes to relationships, is you're going to be found out eventually. You'll have the honeymoon period and things will be going great. But I often hear, we get a month in or a few weeks in and things start to change and she starts to feel distant. It's like, well, you're probably starting to slip. That mask is starting to come off. And so she's seeing the real you. And whilst there's probably nothing wrong with the real you, that's not who she was attracted to in the first place. That's not who she had that initial connection with. She had the connection with the mask, not you. Right? That's not saying she couldn't have had that. But it's going to feel really weird for her because now there's two different versions of you that she's had access to. And she's not sure about the second one because, again, that's sort of almost come by accident. Right? And this is where the nice guy will go really deep into the people pleasing, into over pursuing. right? Into not wanting to make decisions and lead because you don't want to upset her, right? To have her mood dictate your mood. To struggle to, the pressure to provide because you feel like you need to do that. Otherwise she might leave you because she might think you're not enough and whatever else, right? There's just so many different symptoms of the same sort of thing, right? So the nice guy, again, at his core, is just a people pleaser simply because he just wants to feel loved. He just wants to fit in. He just wants to be accepted. And relationships are just the easiest way that it can show up. But as I said, it can show up in your body, never feeling proud of your body, never feeling confident to be shirtless or to post on Instagram, right? Hiding away at the gym, never feeling proud of your progress. Why? Well, because the man that thinks he's not good enough, again, this was me for so long, the man that thinks he's never good enough and believes he's never good enough at an identity level, why would he ever be happy with his body? Why would he ever be proud to show it off, right? Do you know how long it took me to actually be confident to be shirtless? Right? Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, for 15 to 16 years, I would never be caught dead with my shirt off because I was worried that I was going to have that bullying happen again and that was going to make me feel not good enough. So I would hide away. I would wear a mask, wear a shirt. Right? In our purpose and direction and, mission in life and the calling that God has placed on our hearts, right? We will avoid that, or we will not fully commit to that, or we will not back ourselves, or we will not stick with something even if it's not working and push through that refinement season. Why? Again, I believe I'm not good enough, so why would I do that? I believe I'm not good enough, and whilst I still believe in God, if I don't believe I'm good enough and I'm more loyal to that belief system, why am I going to believe there is something more for me? Why would I believe I can build a 5-figure per month business plus? Why would I believe I can impact people through the work? Why would I believe that I could climb the career progression in my career? Why would I believe I can make X amount of money? I'm not good enough, remember? I'm not worthy. I'm not capable. And so I don't even try. I don't even put myself out there. I go for a little while, but I can't be consistent because I always come back to the doubt and that consumes me. And because I'm more loyal to that, I stop. Right? And you can start to see how all of these different symptoms start to pile up, and suddenly I look around my life, I don't like my body, I'm not confident in it. I've got a history of failed relationships, all that seem to end the same way, that all cause me to lose myself, that all cause me to overthink and get anxious and doubt and insecure, and I push her away, or I just completely ruin the masculine feminine dynamic because I cannot assume that masculine role, and so she needs to, and that completely demagnetizes her, so she leaves because that's not what she wants. Right? I'm in a job I don't like, or I've got so many failed businesses, or I'm just never successful, or I give up. Right? It's no wonder so many men are struggling. Again, you add in the conditioning of the world around this, the need to be good. And if you stray away from that path, you are bad. And bad means this. Bad means you're out of the tribe. You're not accepted. You're not loved. Right? Again, add another layer on top of this, the war on masculinity at the moment, the war on God-fearing men. Right? It doesn't take long to see what society really thinks of masculinity. Right? They're trying to push it down. They're trying to suppress it. They're saying it's toxic. It's like masculinity is not toxic. The lack of masculinity is toxic, because a truly strong, grounded, masculine man is not toxic. He can lead. He can build something bigger than himself. He can provide. He can protect. He looks good. He's confident. He's in touch with his emotions. Right? The lack of masculinity is either, when we think typical toxic red pill masculinity, is that version. But there's also the other side, which is the softer man. Right? The nice guy often fits into this category. Really in touch with his emotions, probably not afraid to express and be vulnerable, but there's also got to be a point where you start to actually build tangible evidence in your world that you are good enough, where you actually do the things, where you actually get into shape. You don't just talk about things all the time. You're not just vulnerable all the time, because that's not actually going to make you feel like a man. Right? So many of my struggles, again, outside of just the surface level stuff, was I didn't feel like a man. Not because I couldn't express, but because I looked around my world and I didn't have things that were true to my masculine essence. Right? A man needs to look good. He needs to feel confident. He needs to love what he sees in the mirror. He needs to be building something, a legacy, a business, something physical like a house, or in a trade. Right? Men need to build something. They need to feel useful and valuable. That doesn't mean their worth is derived just from that, but that's who we are at our core. Right? Adventure, building, looking good, confident, leading. And when you think about the insecure nice guy, he is the opposite of all those things, because again, he's operating from that core operating system of I am not enough, I am not worthy, I am not capable. And so everything outside of that just simply becomes a reflection. So the only way, again, I could talk about this stuff all the time, and I'm going to try and keep it concise. The way that we shift out of this is to understand that an external solution is not the answer to an internal problem. Right? Ultimately, yes, it's finding the right partner, and you're going to need a partner. Like, your partner is not going to fix this for you, but the right person will absolutely help you. Right? I've spoken about this, to previous partners and the girl I'm seeing at the moment. Like, I've been very honest at times where, okay, this is what I'm working on. This is what I would love your help with. Right? That's very different to me either keeping it quiet, which I used to do, or me being too scared to voice things and me trying to, overcompensate in other areas. Right? The right partner, if you say, hey, look, I've really struggled with anxiety in the past and self-doubt in the past and worry and whatnot. I'm working on it. I'm doing a lot better, but I would love, X, Y, Z from you. Right? I would love just for the moment, just that little bit of extra reassurance with your words or with your touch or little messages here and there or little actions here and there. Right? Don't be afraid to actually voice that. It's amazing. Because and here's the thing, right? Here's how you know if this is your person or not. The wrong person will have a problem with that. Right? And they're like, okay, well, you're not my person. See you later. But the right person will be like, oh, yeah, like, tell me what you need me to do. Like, I'm in this. I want to help you. Tell me what you need me to do. I will do it. And they will be so happy to do it. Right? I know for me, I've had that, being told to me. And I often ask, I'm like, hey, what do you need from me to feel more loved or accepted or reassured or whatever it is? And for the right person, of course, you're happy to do that. Right? So I'm trying to remember where I was actually going with that. Yeah, external solutions. So yeah, the relationship isn't the answer, but again, it's obviously going to help you because there's got to be a point where you start to action this new version of you, and you need the right person to do that. Right? Same with your body and your training program and getting into shape. Right? Same with actually, okay, what do I actually want to do in my life? What is my purpose? What does God want me to do? Right? Who do I need to be for my family and for my future? Right? These are all the things we then look at, but first of all, we need to address the story that has sabotaged them in the first place. We need to understand, why is this nice guy identity still here? Why am I still acting from this? It's not her fault. It's not the body's fault. It's not your job's fault. It's not your boss's fault. It's no one else's fault, and it's not a character flaw. It's just a misalignment in your identity, and it's just evidence based off a past experience that you have not challenged. Right? This not good enough story. It's not actually real. Right? We know our worth in God. Right? That's the other thing. Is your worth rooted in God, not in the world? Because if you look around the world, you will fall into this trap of never being enough, because there's endless ways you can compare yourself. Right? But God has already won that battle. This is who we are in Christ. Right? This is our worth. This is who we are as men. Okay, cool. What do I need to do to actually believe that? Right? We need to shift the story. And as we shift the story, we start thinking differently. As we start thinking differently, we start speaking differently. Right? We start feeling differently. Our actions change. We start doing things we need to do, and we stop doing the things we don't. And when you stick with that for long enough, your reality will start to change. You will start to attracting the person. Your body will start to change, and you'll actually feel good. Right? You'll have that idea pop into your head magically. It's like, no, you're finally allowing yourself to think bigger than your limitations for the business or the way, the career you want to be in, or whatever it is, the way you want to make money to provide for your family. Right now, because these things are going to be a reflection of a man who believes he is good enough and is now building evidence that you are good enough. Because it's all well and good to just talk about it, but internal realization and shift needs to be backed up with external action, and that's how we start to produce the results. Right? And the other thing in this, our reality is on lag. So what you are experiencing right now is a result of past thoughts, beliefs, stories, actions, language, etc. Your past self-image. Right? So you act in the present moment, you think, you speak, and that produces results, but it takes time for that to happen. Right? So think about losing 10 kilos. When you hit that 10 kilo mark, that is a result of the past, 10, 12, 14, 16 weeks. Right? Changing things in your world is no different. So it's about, okay, now I need to consistently show up as the man who believes he is good enough. And over time, your reality has no choice but to shift. Right? Again, the more you start connecting with God and giving it to him and surrendering the parts that you need help with, you will receive guidance, you will receive help, you will receive things that will change as a result of that. But this all starts with you challenging that belief that you are not enough, you are not worthy, you are not capable. Everything else is just noise. But this is the trap. It's easy to focus on the external things that are giving you problems. Because, okay, this is my problem. Relationships are my problem. I need to focus on the relationships. It's like, no, you need to focus on the the version of you and the creator that is producing those relationships, that is attracting those relationships, right? Our external world mirrors our internal world. So we shift the identity, connect to God, shift the identity, then we start getting clear on where we want to go, the future we want, the family, the relationships, the body, the business, the whatever. And then we start savagely disproving old belief systems through building tangible evidence. Get into the gym, track your calories, lose weight, start running, start the business, start, having ideas and brainstorming around that. Start communicating your needs more. Get a couple of brothers and say, this is what I need, help me, right? This is what I need your help with. Right? Because when you start disproving and finding evidence to go against this not good enough story, you will start to see just how much of a lie this was. And this version of you has always existed inside of you. You just haven't allowed them to come out. They've been wanting to come out because that is your default as a man of God. But you've been so loyal to this belief that you are not enough, and your brain is so focused on finding evidence to support this not good enough story because that's what you continue to command it to do. Right? What we experience in our world is filtered. And it's filtered through belief systems and language and a few other things. Again, this is all the stuff I go into in my mentoring. And so you've just been commanding your brain to show you a world that reflects this not good enough story, which is where you have to be the insecure nice guy to be liked, to be loved, to be accepted, because you don't know how to do that for yourself. Right? This is the work, man. Right? The world needs you to get out of this nice guy. That doesn't mean you aren't still going to be a nice guy. We do this from a heart-centered place. Give, we provide, we love, we connect. We do be vulnerable and express. That is so important. Right? But there's a difference between doing that from the genuine place of who you are versus having to do it wearing a mask. The people pleaser needs to go. Right? Because you need to come first after God in this sense so you can give to your family, to your business, to your clients, to your loved ones, to your circle, and to the world. Right? Most people try to change outside before they even look inside. And I promise you, when you do this properly, all of these little symptoms, the doubt, the overthinking, the anxiousness, all the relationship issues and everything else, these go away because they were just the end result of what was going on in here. And if you've changed that, they by default must also change. All right, so this is the nice guy. This is, again, I could literally talk about this all day, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video, but this is your work. And so we come to the end of the video with a decision that you need to make. Am I going to continue to buy into this not good enough story? Am I going to continue to just avoid the work to shift the nice guy? Am I going to continue to focus on, I just need another partner, I just need another training program, I just need this, I just need that, without actually addressing what is really going on? Right? And if you're done with this, like I was, right, I've completely changed my life. There's still so much that I'm working on. Right? I'm not perfect. I still have moments where I find myself slipping back into that because it was so familiar for so long. So naturally, that's going to happen. But for the most part now, I'm in a body that I love and I'm confident in and I'm always improving. Right? I've just challenged myself to run a half marathon off 5 weeks of training. Tick, did it. More evidence. Sweet. Right? I'm building this business. I've made so many pivots in my business trying to find what really lights me up. Right? And I've done that because I know there's more out there for me. I know I can be used in a better way. I know I can impact more people. And ultimately, I know I can provide more for my family. Right? So I kept iterating. Again, I've attracted in a beautiful woman into my life. And all of these different areas are now starting to come together because I dissolved my not good enough story. I dissolved, for the most part, 98% of the time, the insecure nice guy. He still comes out on occasions, and that's actually fine because I know how to be aware enough to stop that happening. Right? So now when I go to build my life, I can actually do it from the right place. And now my reality will simply catch up to the way I show up every single day. Brother, so trust me, if I can do this from where I was, and if we end up doing some work together at some point, I will tell you my full story. But if I can make this shift, then so can you. Right? But stop looking outside of you. Start challenging this belief that you are not enough, not capable, not worthy, whatever is underneath all of this stuff. Right, and if you want help doing this is what I do. Come into my world. I've got the Proving Ground, which is my group mentorship, or you have the opportunity to work with me one-on-one in a more intimate setting. And at the time of this recording, I'm also planning some Proving Ground summits where we come to Bali. I'm here in Bali right now, and we hang out with a really small, intimate, tight group of men for a week, and we do all of this work as well. All right, so your best bet, check below in the caption, or send me a DM on Instagram and just let's strike up a conversation. Tell me where you're at, and I'll see what I can do to help you. But brother, it's time to let go of this insecure nice guy, because there is a man deep within you that your family and future need you to start stepping into. You're not broken. You don't have a character flaw. You just haven't been shown how to make that happen. Reach out if you want help. I appreciate you watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.